because this might be the fastest Super Bowl on record, not in terms of game time actually played, but in terms of the stopwatch. When we have, the top 3 running back speeds, or the only 3 running backs that clocked over 21 miles an hour.
No other team did that, and the wide receivers,
for the 49ers.
Kansas City, their Legion of Zoom, all clocking 21 or more as well.
So we were talking about the idea, what makes that speed even more difficult to defend is that when you put them in motion.
Yes.
Right? And this is something that both these offenses do, albeit very differently with the way Kyle calls the zone blocking and the zone running game for the 49ers, and the way Andy Reid always seems like he has somebody in motion behind the line of scrimmage for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because these offenses are different in a lot of ways.
Very different.
The Niners, I like to call an equal opportunity offense. Everybody runs. Everybody blocks. Everybody catches. Everybody can do anything at any time in that offense. With the Chiefs, the roles are more discreet, but they've got so much speed, especially at the pass catchers with Hardman and Hill, and Andy does use them both vertically and laterally, which really stretches out your defense. And you've got a quarterback who can throw the ball to literally every point on the football field. The net effect is the same, which is they're just immensely hard to defend. The motion that they use, and they I think are like 1 and 2 in the league in how much motion they use before the snap, it exacerbates this because how do you defend motion, right? What are the challenges that it presents to a defender? It's mental. It makes you hesitate. It makes you, and whether that's a split second or drags out long enough to where you can actually see the linebacker on the field going, oh no, like me getting hit by a car. Yeah. When you've got skill players who happen to be the fastest ones in the NFL, a split second will kill you.
Correct.
So that element of uncertainty coupled with speed on both sides, on both teams, is deadly.
It brings out the situation, too. We talked about how it's a chess game, too. To me, as a former defender, second down was always the important down to me, even though Mahomes is proving it doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 18 or not. But still, the number of plays I had in my head in down and distance situations, and certainly second and longer, is a smaller package of what I have to now worry about. And for San Francisco, loves that zone. So when do you go to man? When do you blitz that DB, where Mahomes has had some problems with as well? Second down to me is that key down.
And you know who that matters for, especially that San Francisco offense, because all Kansas City wants to do is get Jimmy Garoppolo into 3rd down as a drop-back passer. They need to get past 2nd down. They cannot give up just even like an 8-yard play-action pass, a 7-yard run on 2nd down is key.
Yeah, it's amazing. Mina Kimes with us here on Golic and Wingo this morning. I was going and looking at it and just looking because so much of we talk about the Chiefs, the Legion of Zoom, so much of the Niners is focused on the run game, but both of these teams are throwing to wide-open receivers more often than not because of this. Yards per attempt, the Niners were number 1 in the NFL on throws that Next Gen Stats defines as wide open, 5 yards of separation or more. The Chiefs, number 3 in snaps of those plays, number 3 in yards of those plays. Like, everyone is wide bleep open. And I think one of the things you mentioned is a lot of that's because each team has that guy that can do a little bit of everything. And I said for the Chiefs defense, George Kittle seems to be kind of the nexus for all of this. When you look at the Chiefs and what they've done on defense, how do you address a guy like George Kittle who can do so much for them?
I think that's the Honey Badger's job in this game. The Chiefs' strengths on defense are the pass rush and the Honey Badger. That's really about it. Not strong at the cornerback position, linebacker, which is a real problem against the San Francisco offense. But so I could see Honey Badger keying in on him. And I think the receivers, actually, those Niners receivers we never talk about, Emmanuel Sanders, for example, Kendrick Bourne, who's actually had a pretty nice postseason, they could end up being pretty important in the play-action passing game with Garoppolo.
Well, Bourne was a huge part of what we saw in the NFC Championship game. But then you mentioned play-action passing. That would assume that eventually the 49ers will pass. I mean, it has been a phenomenal thing. Since the second quarter interception by Eric Kendricks in the divisional game, the Niners have gone 92 minutes and 49 seconds of football and thrown the ball exactly 14 times. They threw it 8 times in the NFC title game, fewest ever. By the way, the next fewest was 9, and that team got blown out in '83. That was Dave Krieg and the Seahawks. So we're talking about teams that are doing it a completely different way. And people's like, well, Kyle Shanahan's just saying if it's working, stay with it, the running game. Yeah. And that's true. But we also have to acknowledge he would much prefer it to stay that way as opposed to put the ball in Jimmy's hands in those obvious passing situations you were talking about. Less risk.
It doesn't have to be an indictment of Jimmy Garoppolo that they're running at 7 miles. Well, that would be amazing. 7 yards.
They would win
carry.
if that was the case.
That's a good strategy out there if you can get 7 miles a carry. If it's like you said, if it's working, don't change your tendencies. And I'm not sure San Francisco will in this game because man, that Chiefs run defense isn't great. And they are not great, particularly in areas where the Niners' rush offense is strong. Running out of I formation, Niners, best in the NFL. Chiefs, worst in the NFL. Use of motion before they run. Chiefs, I think bottom 5 in the NFL. So while I do think Jimmy might have to do a bit more in this game, especially if the Chiefs do decide to key in on the run, I still expect to see a lot of running.
I do as well.
Yeah.
And to me, I get the O-line, but Juszczyk and Kittle.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, what they're able to do, to me, especially Kittle, not only blocking at the point, but his ability to get to the second level as well blocking.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.